Hello to all of you from around the world. I want to welcome you to another edition of SOULIVITY Today, broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Westley Johnson, and we have another amazing show for you today. Today is another phenomenal Hot Topics Friday, where we bring you news and stories from around the world you may or may not be aware of. You see, we just don't want to rehash news that you see on major media. We want to give you a different perspective on topics and issues which are interesting for all of us. This includes both the serious and the fun stuff. So let's get started. Listen, when we talk about creating your best life today, we have to include how we take care of our mind, body, and spirit. Now, for the physical body, this means making sure we are giving it what it needs on an ongoing basis so we can effectively and efficiently function and complete the goals and tasks which lead to a happier life. This means with the right guidance, we can truly have a holistic, healthy life. But where do we start? And how do we navigate the mountains of information and misinformation about how we go about eating healthy? Well, today we have the perfect guest and solution. Let's learn a bit more. For more than 2 decades, PhysicalMind Institute has been an innovator of the Pilates sector, securing numerous trademarks and patents for various Pilates and fitness props and equipment. Their commitment to innovation ensures that these pioneering products are accessible to all. And to this end, earlier this year, they launched their latest version of 80 Bites mobile application, part of the 80 Bites portion control and stomach training program. In a world where diet trends are often promoting complex training and weight management systems, 80 Bites brings a simple, clear solution. Eating less, less often is the key to weight loss and appetite control. In what the New York Times has dubbed the golden age of medicine, we have the potential to eliminate the obesity epidemic. Ozempic has demonstrated that weight loss is more about hormones than calories. However, the non-medicated approach involves reducing the size of your stomach, said JOAN, president and founder of PhysicalMind Institute. And it's my pleasure to welcome JOAN, president and founder of PhysicalMind Institute, to talk about 80 Bites. Good morning to you, JOAN.
Good morning. It's really interesting for me to hear your summation because, I go back, I've been doing Pilates personally for 60 years when Joe was alive. And this was always the most confusing thing and hardly anyone knew it. It was a tiny cult. And of course, now everyone knows it. And you wonder, was it just so far ahead, or was it that people really were afraid of it? And it really was the latter. But it's having even more of a rebirth right now. But, it never was obvious. And of course, the name Pilates, you couldn't get a worse name. And I now think that 80 Bites is just beginning to do what Pilates did, because it's not a good name, 80 Bites. In fact, it's something that was started way back in 1987. And my friend and partner, Meredith Luce, whose grandfather was Henry Luce and founded modern journalism. And so as a result of that, we got publicity right from the start. It was in Self magazine, 5 pages, called the No Diet Diet. And it was called Diet Directives. And of course, there was no internet. So Nobody
Right.
knew. It was written by Candace Bushnell, who wrote Sex in the City and still
Hmm.
lives by it, right? But we didn't get going, really. It didn't seem to happen. And then, of course, what was happening were all these books and programs of counting calories. And I was just telling you that way back in the early 60s, when Weight Watchers started, 1963, people would carry these little calorie books with them. And these were friends, and people weren't overweight or fat or anything, but they were
Mm.
getting into this calories, calories, calories. And I guess
Colors.
my first thought was, why would I count calories? I've never even seen a calorie, nor has anybody, but it didn't matter. People were suckered, and that's the word, into this thing of obsessing about calories, right? And then
Wow.
what happened was there was no fitness industry, which is one of the reasons why Joe Pilates, when he died in 67, and it really died with him, died broke and a failure, even though this is really the best method. And I'm prejudiced, obviously, but
Of course. Of course.
because we didn't have this. I remember when the first gyms started to open. I mean, I'm not
Hmm.
talking about the gyms for not Weight Watchers, but weight builders, that were
Right.
not for
Right.
women, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
women really didn't even, sweating was considered unfeminine. Nobody would do that. So I've lived this whole long trajectory of watching this thing come and seeing how people got, in my opinion, suckered into it. And I
Right.
always say now, yes, calories count, but you can't count them. And everybody
Right.
absorbs them differently, right? And
Right.
the sad
Exactly.
thing, and it's not fair, is that someone like me, who has always lived with eating the same foods, which is every food you can eat. I mean, I understand in China that fried scorpions are a delicacy, and if I were there, I would try them. Right? I eat
Me
everything.
too.
I've never limited, and
Me
every
too.
single diet is about. Oh, you can eat everything in column A, and then certain days you can eat column B, and then
The
column C. If it's
right.
raining in Bermuda on a Thursday, then you can't eat A and B. I mean, it's these
So
manipulations, and people love them. They love them
it's
instead of saying,
true,
that's
but it's
crazy.
true, but it's so
Yeah.
true.
And they've all been, in my opinion, suckered into it. And of course, the results have been a total failure. And each
Right.
time, in the history of it, what people have done is to rename it, which is why we don't have Weight Watchers. We have WW, right? And we don't have Kentucky Fried Chicken. We have KFC. So
Can't
you
see.
get something,
Right.
it becomes not what people want to hear. So you rename it, but it's the same thing, right? So
Right.
I've watched this, and then, of course, we decided to develop it. And we did not know Meredith, who's the best registered dietitian, who specialized, when she's retired now, in bariatric surgery. Right. So she would sit with people who were 450 pounds, and she would always tell me this funny story. It's like, well, what do you eat? Oh, well, just some fruit salad and Perrier to drink. And she said, I think you need to tell me what it is. Anyway, she worked with these people. They had the surgery. We're talking about her being in an operating room, and we have actually a photo of one stomach that was this big. I mean, a stomach's supposed to be small, 6 inches,
Wow.
and it was 12 inches. It's removed, and when that person, it's cut down, eats, they are eating the quantities of a toddler, right? And
Mm.
why? And then why? Even though they're still 450, 500 pounds, why in a few days does their diabetes disappear? It does, because the stomach has been reduced and the
Boost.
hormones rebalance. And that's very complicated, and no one really understands. So we started with the concept of the stomach, but we didn't know
Okay.
hormones. We didn't. We
Okay.
got to know
Okay.
them maybe it was 10 years ago. Now everyone is going to know them because they understand with Ozempic and Mounjaro and all these
Right.
drugs that what is happening in their body is not that it's torching the calories or it's speeding up your metabolism, which has failed, the drugs that
Right.
tried that, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just rebalancing your hormones. And when it does, and everybody on these drugs will tell you, your hunger is downsized, just totally downsized. And you interview these people and they say the food noise, and that's, I think, one of the worst things that this has happened, not just the
Mm-hmm.
obesity, but that people are constantly thinking about food and torturing themselves with, I ate that, I shouldn't eat this. and that was bad, and I'm bad. And, this is a very, it's sad to think that people have this. It's so awful to think that people are blaming themselves. They should
Right.
not be blaming themselves, right?
I'm
They
so
have been
glad you.
fed so much stuff and they're so confused. And now we have a chance to fix it. Now,
You.
what I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you from this is that it's such good news. Now, people, every day I get an alert for a Google alert, they're wonderful, on
Yeah.
the two main drugs, Mounjaro, that's Eli Lilly and whatever. And a pill form will be out before the end of the year. No more injections. And the pills apparently work better, number one. And number
Mhm.
two, they have fewer side effects. But let's face it, diabetes, fatty liver disease, amputation, they're side effects of what we have.
Right.
So maybe the side effect would be with one of these drugs that you felt nauseous. That's
Hmm.
not really that bad considering the other ones, right? So we see an end to this.
Yes.
That 60 years of being fed this misinformation and all of it essentially building industries. And we're talking green, and you and I discuss this, not lettuce,
Yes.
but greenbacks, right?
Hmm.
And it can be, and my feeling is that the solution, and there was an article in the New York Times, and I guess it was 10 years ago, and I still can't find it, that the solution written by an economist was forget the public health people, let the economists fix it. And that is what will happen. Okay. And then all along the food chain, people who are picking things and getting paid almost nothing because the food is too cheap will be
Right.
paid a decent wage, and
Wage.
all of the transport will reduce the impact on the environment because they'll be shipping fewer things. The restaurants will be serving fewer things, and then people will not complain because they will be like me, who has always eaten in a certain way, a certain consistent way, and therefore I'm not hungry.
Right.
You know,
Right. Right. Joan, as you were talking about this, I'm over here going, "Amen, sister. Amen, sister. Amen, sister." Um, um, you know, First we're taught to eat a certain way. That's a bag of goods. Then we're taught to feel bad if we don't
you're right,
buy into eating the way that they tell us to eat.
which
But
changes every week, of course.
which changes everything, right? But in reality, like I dare people just go out on Google and just Google statistics on like diet and stuff like that. People are dying every single day from the way that people are telling you how to eat.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Right.
And then I
It's
look at,
very, very dangerous
yeah,
now that we're in a
it
time
is.
where
It,
it's
it
too
is.
much for people to absorb, and they feel like, you think about trying it. There are blogs of people who did Weight Watchers 26 times and they
Right,
fail, right? And,
right,
the truth is that those failures build up. And I mean, the fat acceptance movement is really just people who got to the point where they failed and failed and failed. So now they're going to go 100, and no one wants to be. There's everybody trying to get their hands on Ozempic, right? It's because
right,
they don't want to be that, and not just aesthetically. I mean, aesthetically,
right,
we know people don't want to look like that, but
right,
also because the pain it feels. I mean, then you're the thing, and I'm of course in Pilates, so we don't have excessive exercise, right? But when
right.
I see people, and I went to a very major chain, I try everything, and it was all about burn the calories and measuring the calories and whatever. And next to me
Right.
was I'm 82, and next to me is a girl who's in her 20s, right? And she
Hmm.
is beating up her body, which probably had 60 or 70 extra pounds. She's going down and doing burpees, and she's up and down. And I'm thinking, I feel like I have to avert my eyes. I feel like saying to her, stop. You're hurting your
Right.
joints. You're going to have knees replacement. It's not going to do anything. You're increasing your hunger. You're raising your cortisol. When you have your elevated cortisol, what happens is it tells your brain you're hungry. You're not hungry. You have all that weight on you, right? But your brain says it, then you are very hungry. And,
Right.
it's so bad. And yet she's trying so hard. and it'll fail her, and then she'll feel bad about it, and she shouldn't.
Right, right. Let's talk about that part, because I think you talk about cortisol overload, right? Specifically, and I don't think people
Yeah.
even we don't read. We got this beautiful thing called the internet, and we're still not reading. And so seriously though, I mean, all this information is available,
Yeah, it's
right?
all
It's
new though. Remember, whoever
yeah,
knew
yeah.
about cortisol, leptin, ghrelin, nobody knew this stuff. And
Right.
hormones were just been again, right. So it's hard because people have been so brainwashed and really brainwashed about calories in, calories out, 3,500 calories, you lose a pound, and you could torch them, and you look at these abusive workouts, and the names, I'm not going to mention them, where they're telling you, our workout burns 800 calories, right? And people
Right.
then believe that. And then they think, I just burned 800 calories, so I'm going to go and eat, a pizza. But not a slice of pizza, because there's nothing wrong. In fact,
Right.
I'm amazed at how honest the people who are taking these new Ozempic drugs and whatever is, that they will say things like, I can barely eat 2 slices. Well, you shouldn't even be eating two, but anyway. And then they say, we used to eat an entire pizza. You think about the assault on your stomach, this little organ here. And she did not think about it. She probably wasn't even aware, because she was inhaling it. Now, chewing is a major part of the 80 Bites program. And this
Right.
goes back to when there was a very famous man called Fletcher, and this was in the 20s. And, at that point, only rich people like the Astors and the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers would be able to avail themselves of these kinds of health things. And he would gather them together and make them chew every bite 32 times, which is
Mm,
impossible to do. But now, if you
right.
watch people eat, and I'm not going to say anything against fast food, because I think it has its place, but if you eat it slowly and chew it, it's fine. But they don't, because it's constituted and manufactured so you can take a hamburger and swallow it. And
Right.
think what that does to your stomach. Then your stomach is overworking to digest it, which it should have been done with your teeth, right? And
Right.
then it's stretching it. It's throwing off these hormones, and these hormones have to be balanced. And one of the things Meredith Luce used to say to these people, she said, look, I'm sorry, it's not fair, but if we eat the same quantity of food, right, the same calories, my
Hmm.
body will
Hmm.
probably absorb only 75%. Your body will absorb 95%. And that is because your hormones are messed up, and your body, and you've been so inconsistent. So, basically 80 Bites is saying, turn off all this do's and don'ts about eat
Don't.
this and don't eat this. And if you eat this, it's bad, and then you're bad, and turn it all off. Just
Right.
try to clear this out and focus on not what you're eating, but
Right.
how you're eating. And then
Wow.
you start. So we're really the prep for these drugs, which are going to fix things. But I will tell you something interesting, because this is how these businesses make so much money. If you go on
Okay.
the Ozempic website or the
Hmm.
Mounjaro one, this is what they'll tell you. They'll give you what I call the mantra: eat healthy, exercise more, hydrate. So they're giving you what made people fat, instead of saying, once you're on this and you see that your appetite is diminished and you
Ish.
eat less,
Less.
then you've got to learn how to orchestrate a meal, which is what we teach. What is a
Hmm.
real meal, right? What parts do it have?
Hmm.
And then
Hmm.
you have to learn how to chew it and how to enjoy it and to expand your palate. And funny, the thing is, now, if you are looking on the internet and social media, posture is one of the biggest terms, right? And I go
Right.
back to the 70s, when doing crunches was the big thing in
Big.
exercise. And
Oh
in fact,
my
a
gosh.
famous
Yes.
actress, I don't know, maybe it was Demi Moore, but someone was touted as being able to do 1,000 crunches. Crunches
Crunches.
are forward flexion, which is what we're in all the time at our
Hmm.
computer, texting, whatever. And even though the body, there are only 10 exercises, people don't know this. They think they're millions, but that's just choreography. The spine has 10 movements. One of them is flexion, forward flexion. And though we do
Reflection.
need it and should do it properly, we don't need very much of it, right? And certainly not 50 crunches. So
Right.
we set up our body in the 70s, 80s, 90s doing crunching when we should have been, in fact, weight bearing and doing into neutral and extension. So that was the first thing, the first hit for posture. Then we ruined our palates by having everything low fat, right?
Bad.
Because that was going to save you calories so you could eat more. Eating
Right.
more is what this is all about, right? Because
Right.
now it's trillions of dollars. So now
Right.
we did this thing. Everyone jumped into it. They thought it was great. And now we have the results. People have very limited palates when you talk to people. So now I want to go into a personal thing.
Okay, go for it.
So I recently was diagnosed with cancer and I'm in chemotherapy. And I'm fine. I'm doing fine.
Okay.
But
Okay.
for 4
Good.
months before I got diagnosed, I was what I guess people have always called a couch potato. I'd come home from work and I would sort of collapse. I had very little energy and I didn't feel good. I had a pain in my back. I never have anything like that. I was bloated. And I just thought, oh, I don't want to become a hypochondriac. These are just little annoyances, right? And it was more than
Mm-hmm.
4 months. And then I started coughing. And so I would buy these over the counter drugs, debloat yourself and Mucinex so the phlegm and I was crazy. I didn't pay any attention because I thought, I guess this is what it gets to be when you're old. I'm 82, right?
Right.
So
Right.
finally I said to myself, maybe I should go to the doctor. So I call up and of course he's on vacation. So that's another few weeks. But when I get there, he examines me and he thinks, wow, this could be a problem. And then I go through all these, tests and PET scans and ultrasounds and
Mm-hmm.
biopsies. It's the whole prep is terrible. And then
Right.
they
Right.
found
Right.
out, oh yeah, it's not like your gallbladder or anything. It's you've got cancer and you've got the hugest tumor on your liver. Gigantic. If they put this in the
Wow.
Guinness Book of Records, I would have been there. And I'm talking the discovery was in July, right? So
Wow.
into chemotherapy and whatever. Now, during that period, my appetite started to really disappear. But more than that, since I eat, when I sit down to eat a meal, my body has eaten the same quantities my entire life. I don't eat
Okay.
more of this because it's healthy and try to avoid this. I eat what is, and so it's maybe 22 or 26 bites for a meal. A
Okay.
typical restaurant entree, and I'm not talking about a high
Yeah.
quality,
Yeah.
but it's a nice restaurant, is 50, 60 bites. The
Right.
appetizer is 15 bites. So people are just eating food that's been served to them that's way too much. So
Right.
what happened to me was I could not eat because the tumor was pressing on my stomach, the coughing was on my lungs. I didn't know it though. And so I started to eat and I could not eat more than 12 bites at a sitting. Immediately I understood I was not getting enough nutrients or calories. But I had never had to think that because I would eat broadly. I never limited, oh, I can't eat that, that's bad or whatever.
Right.
I have some
Right.
chips with the sandwich. Of course I'm going to have it, right? And
Right.
so it was all automatic. My stomach counted for me. I got the proper
Wow.
nutrition because I ate broadly. I didn't have to play these mental gymnastics of I eat this, I don't eat
Oh.
that. Da, 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 da.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it stopped. I knew I wasn't. I started to take vitamin pills. I bought these boosting drinks because also my things didn't taste well. In a
Right.
sense, I validated this 80 bites program that we have by
Mm.
getting cancer. And it was
Wow.
amazing to me when I saw that instead of narrowing my diet, which keto and every one of them is, telling you that stuff, I had my broad diet, but it got narrower because things didn't taste good. I began
Good.
to understand what it's like when people say, oh, I don't like this or I don't want to eat this. They've narrowed their diet and
Right.
therefore they don't like these things. And then they're
Right.
not getting the nutrition that something would get. So
Right.
it was a very strange. Now I'm back and I'm eating more, but I still have to force myself a little bit. And I've lost weight and I didn't need to lose weight. But
Okay.
the fact is that I can see that the strain mentally of having to be obsessed with every bite, though people never think in terms of bites,
Mm-hmm.
which is what we do. You can at least
Mm-hmm.
see them and count them, right?
Right.
And
Right.
recently, as we redid the app, and I'll tell you that there have been complaints, and I wish I could name two very famous people who use it all the time, but I can't. And they said, why did you take the tracking off? It used to be that you would finish using it and it would be, they'd tell you how many bites and it would be tracking. And with this new version, which is just out a month, I took
Mm-hmm.
it off because I see how obsessed people are with
Are.
tracking everything and their watches and their this. And a friend of mine said, you can't believe this. I was in a restaurant, a man was waiting to get his table and he was shaking his arm like this where his watch was so he would get more activity. He was fooling himself by doing this so that his numbers would look better and he would compete with his friend. And I thought, oh no. And you know what? You don't want to track your bites. You want to see, honestly,
Right.
how many you can take in without feeling anything, right?
Thing. Right.
I got to the point
Right.
where I took in too few and I would feel it because
Right.
of this tumor, right? And
Right.
then I'm getting back to it. But, your stomach will start to count them and then you will stop. And that's what, of course, the people on these drugs are finding.
Right.
They
Right. Right.
just, and every time that happens, then your stomach is rebalanced and it's working for you and the hormones are working for you. When you
Right.
do the regular diets where you can eat unlimited quantities of a pile on the veggies, whatever, what you're
Right.
doing is unbalancing your stomach, increasing your hunger, and driving yourself crazy. I'm really worried about the minds. I see people so upset with themselves
Mm-hmm.
because they've been fed this information and they feel that they're being bad.
So you were talking about, people get on the program and some people didn't like the tracking. I love the fact that you took the tracking off because this has to become more of just you paying attention, right? And letting your
Paying
stomach tell
attention.
you, what your stomach is telling you. So let's say today I go and I download the app and I'm telling y'all, go download the app and start this today.
Yeah, it's
What
free. It's nothing.
it's free. Yeah, that's the thing. It's free. Um, what can a person expect to learn? Like you got into a little bit when you were talking about, your eating after, as you were going through chemo and that kind of thing. Do other people have the same type of experience that you did? I mean, not because of cancer or anything like that, but do they have the same type of experience? Like they start
What
80 bites and they
happens
start
is
to.
that and the way we've done it now, and I do think it's the right way. And yes, I know some of the old time users have been tracking, but we get to a point where you get to 26 bites. Now, meanwhile, you
Okay.
have this guy, Sam Stomach, our mascot, who's talking to you. Like, okay, slow down. Now, you don't have to eat that fast. Come on, you're supposed to be enjoying it. This is not food porn. And he's talking to you all the time, right? And making funny things. And of course, I think humor is the best medicine anyway. Now,
Absolutely.
that's not true because most diets are deadly serious and nobody's laughing.
Yes.
Yeah. So people are feeling sort of like this is serious and whatever. Okay. Yes, your health is serious, but don't be serious about enjoying food. Okay. Enjoy it, laugh. So you get to 26, and all of a sudden, this big thing goes off, this sound saying, whoa, okay, let's call it quits. But it says, keep going if you don't feel anything in your stomach. And people will keep going 50, 60, 70. At the end of 99, it just says, okay. At a certain point, it says, it looks like you need a stomach training program. And that, of course, is our program, which is very interesting and is not giving you all these menus to follow
Gotcha.
exactly and trap you into it. It's
Gotcha.
getting you to
Gotcha.
understand
Right.
food and eating and hormones, and it's
Right.
$35 for life. People say to me, $35 is that every week? No, it's for life because what you're learning really is how to understand yourself,
Yeah.
your body, and begin to transition to a point where you're going to be feeling calmer and you're not judging
Wow.
yourself and you're going to feel it. Now, this is just perfectly in line with these pills that'll be out, right? And that will That will make it so easy. I mean, it's I
Wow.
know so many people, rich people, who are on these stuff, and of course, what happens is they're shocked. They're just shocked
Right.
at what they keep calling the food noise. And I've never really understood that so much, but now I do because I've
Mm.
never had it. Because I have never looked at anything and said, I shouldn't eat this. Nothing.
Wow.
I look at
Wow.
what will it look good on the plate, and I only eat. But I lived in New York. I mean, there's a West African restaurant there. There's a French one
Oof.
here in a town. I mean,
I
I am spoiled, obviously, and you're in
oh
Washington. Yeah, you
man.
can eat anything you want, right?
Eat
But
anything you
even then,
want.
you need to you really need to start to expand your palate and get rid
Right.
of all this negativity about doing this stuff. I mean, this is, let's face it, that's on the deeper level. If we want to go there, we're talking
Yeah.
sin, gluttony, and sloth. I mean,
Yeah,
those are
exactly.
sins. They're in the Bible. We know that, the seven deadly sins. So underneath all this health and whatever is what we all experience, and that
You
is
know,
sin when we are gluttonous.
Joan, you answered this, again, when I started reading about 80 Bites and looking into the program and that kind of thing, my grandmother, God rest her soul, lived to be 93. And she was never overweight, the overweight thing.
Mm.
And she ate everything. And when people would ask her, well, how do you stay so, nice looking and da 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 da, she just tell them, well, I just watch what I eat, not in terms of watching the types of food I'm eating, it's how much I'm eating. And she would
Right.
eat.
And I want to tell you something. And this is hard for people, but back, I was born in 1941. And when you go to
Yeah.
the hospital, I'm at Sloan Kettering, every minute they say, and what is your birthday, to make sure they're giving you the right, whatever. So it's April 14th, 1941. Right. So, and funny thing is, I've been asked that so many times. And then last week, I can't believe it. She was probably 30. She said, "That's my birthday too." I said, "Yeah, I think we're separated a little by generations. But my generation, I'm in World War II. We have food rationing. Food rationing. We had booklets,
Yes.
not calendar books,
Yes.
but whatever. So food was scarce because we had to send it to the troops, right? So,
Right.
I mean, obviously, that's what we were thinking. And
Yep.
then it gradually started to change where there was an abundance and then an overabundance and whatever. But the interesting thing to me about it was that people, it was just no one had heard the word calories, just like everyone knows it now. No one had
Right.
heard it. And
Right.
the only thing that people would do or say in the 40s and 50s was, desserts are fattening. That was our expression, desserts are fattening, right? Nobody really knew what that meant, but it seemed like desserts, you couldn't eat too much. And I'm not going to say that Jackie Kennedy counted bites a la 80 bites, but Jackie Kennedy counted bites because a friend of hers wrote a book about her, and it was when she had cancer and was dying. And she said, whenever they would be out, and we always had dessert. I mean, we finished a meal with dessert. I mean, but
Right.
we would have
Oh,
a small quantity of dessert.
well,
And
yeah.
Jackie Kennedy would have a pie, be served it, and she'd eat 3 bites. She wasn't counting them with an app, but she was looking at it. And when she was near death, she ate the entire slice, right? Okay, she just said,
Wow.
I'm going.
Forget
So
it.
what you have to remember, when people did not have calories or carbs or gluten or vegan or keto or all these things, all
Yes.
you could do was know that you couldn't eat too much. People would say, and no one will say this today, when someone would offer you more, you'd say, it's so delicious, but I can't eat another bite. And you couldn't.
Right. Right. Right.
You
Well, to
couldn't.
that point, listen, I want everybody to go out and get the 80 Bytes mobile app. Again, it's free, everybody. You can go
Yeah.
to soulivity.com/80 Bytes. You can learn more information and download it. Again, it is free, people. It's absolutely
Yeah.
free. And you'll feel better, you'll start feeling better about yourself. You get rid of all this negativity, like Joan, like you've been saying, around food and eating and weight and all that. It's like, stop all that. Stop all that.
Yeah.
Just stop it.
I think that
Use
people need to really start to say to themselves, "I can do this because the medicine, what the New York Times is saying, we're in a new age here,
Yep.
is going to make it for the first time right. It's going to help me, and I want to get myself ready for this because it should not be this. We should be enjoying ourselves. We're lucky.
Absolutely.
There's a billion people in the world starving. They can't get
Abs-
600 calories. We're talking calories. A
no,
billion people. And
exactly.
and there's a billion people that have too many and are too fat. So at this point, we've got to think of the global thing, and the impact on the environment is disastrous. And
Right.
now with all these droughts, we can't even have the water. We've been overhydrating. People taking
It is
32
everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you're talking about is again, we go back to the greenbacks. In fact, you got to come back and we got to talk more about this, right?
Economically,
and how
I think that this is a
economic
really
part of
interesting
this,
story.
right? Because I think we're helping people connect the dots here, right?
Right.
And then once you get one piece and the domino falls, your brain just opens up and you go, oh wow, this really makes a lot of sense now. And I get it, right? And then all you do is practice it. Joan, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of SOULIVITY today. And because again, this is about people having a better life, right? And part of this is getting this negativity. And they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm not even going to ask you. You are coming back. I'm doing my mother's sway here. You are coming back.
I'd like to also talk about exercise because I think
because
exercise is so important, and yet people are punishing their bodies.
Absolutely.
Not necessary.
Absolutely. It's not necessary at all. So more to talk about with you. Thanks again for being here. I can't wait for our next conversation. Joan, you're doing so much good.
There.
You're bringing so much good into this world. You know that, right? You are bringing some good into this world.
I hope so.
No, you are. No, you are. You are. Listen, everybody, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with more of SOULIVITY Today. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
SOULIVITY Today is brought to you by Assume control over your weight and broader health with the 80 Bites program by PhysicalMind Institute.
For 50 years, we've been told, load up your plate with veggies. Load them up. Because all this spinach, look at it, all the spinach is only 100 calories. But avoid fat because a tiny sliver of butter is also 100 calories. So spinach is good, butter is bad, right? But not today. Now we're told, put butter on everything, even in your coffee. Why? Because fat doesn't spike insulin as carbs do. And stretching the stomach with all those veggies unbalances our digestive hormones. So eat healthy today means fat, fasting, stomach control, right here's the stomach. Forget calories. Hormones rule, and 80 Bites is the solution.
Are you ready to take that first step towards true, unwavering inner happiness? Are you like thousands of people who have everything they need, not want, but need, and still can't seem to find happiness and fulfillment in their lives? If so, the Steps to Happiness show is for you. On my show, you will learn about the principles and practices that lead to true inner happiness. Because guess what? It isn't found in our external environment, but within ourselves instead. Together with my guests, we will explore the latest physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being practices. And together we'll advise you on the actionable steps you can take toward a happier, more fulfilled, authentic life. So I invite you to join me each week on SOULIVITY TV on the Steps to Happiness show with me, Teresa Greco.
Hey there, we're back with more of SOULIVITY Today. for Hot Topics Friday. We're talking about, a lot of different things, a lot of stories from around the world. We just got done with the segment with JOAN BRIEBART from 80 Bytes. I hope you enjoyed that. And so we're going to keep moving on with a couple more hot topics for you. Did you guys ever play with Legos when you were young? I know I did. I remember my first time. My brother was taking my brother to a doctor's appointment, and I had to come along. So we stopped at the toy store because it was going to be a long appointment. And I picked out some Legos, and we got to the doctor's office, and I started playing with them, and I was hooked, y'all. I mean, I was completely hooked. Now, Legos has taken their product to a whole nother level to expand the reach to a new generation of Lego users who are visually impaired. Yes, they're introducing Lego Braille bricks for kids. And so I thought I would share with you, this story from Legos themselves. Let's learn more.
Lisa and Matt and their two young daughters are sat. They open a box of Lego Braille bricks. Lisa to camera.
Olivia lost her vision at such a young age. The whole way that she's learned about the whole world, essentially, is through sensory touch.
Lisa.
Do you want to find your name in the bricks?
Olivia.
I've got an A already.
An A?
She was first introduced to Lego Braille bricks in her class at school.
I think I normally use Braille in my books and at school. I started it in reception and my Braille teacher taught it to me.
The fact that we've now have that at home has just changed everything.
The family's playing with the Lego Braille bricks and associated online play starters on a tablet.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Who's going to win, Olivia?
Me.
3, go! You can see they're just both as engaged as each other, and that's the main thing. It brings a typical game into the household that's got something accessible for her without making it so different. Learning the language, which makes her feel just the same as every other child.
A box of Lego Braille bricks are on a counter. Amit and two children open the box.
What have we got here?
We got A1, B2, C3.
My kids have only known me without sight, but to them, I don't think they've realised that I can't see because I can hear so well.
Amit and his son and daughter look at a tablet.
Build a wall around the hand using bricks with 3 or more studs.
How many dots do we need?
3 or more.
3 dots or more. Oh, I can giant, you're moving your hand. They don't see me differently to how I think their friends see their parents.
Amit and the children building with the Lego Braille bricks together.
I lost my sight 11 years ago. Nobody really mentioned Braille. They said, well, Braille is very old-fashioned, damn it. Technology's kind of replaced it. You've got audio books, you've got audio CDs, all of these things. I don't want to put headphones in because I kind of need to listen out for things, but to have a stack of pages on my lap, literally running my fingers across it, it's life-changing for me.
Both families are sat around a picnic table in the garden on a summer's day. A guide dog sits on the grass at their feet. The table is covered with red, green, white, blue and yellow Lego Braille bricks. The children build with them. Amanda sat watching her son and daughter play. Reese.
I love Lego Braille bricks because they just help you learn. I've taught my sisters some Braille. Feels good because they didn't know it before I started teaching them. And I'm looking forward to learning with my mum, my nana, my dog.
Amanda.
Reese got a genetic disorder called optic atrophy. Over time, as our eyes deteriorate, Reese's deteriorate at a rapid rate.
With Braille, I know when I'm older I'll still be able to read and write and get my family involved and do secret messages for them.
It's just amazing to see the potential that can come from these little dots and how much it can change someone like Reese's life.
The children study the Braille bricks on an element chart.
Ding, dong.
Ooh. Is that it? Braille itself is quite a challenging thing to learn if it's just on a piece of paper. With the Lego Braille bricks, the children, they can all learn in an amazing way.
As a visually impaired parent, I try and teach them Braille because they obviously want to learn as well. Curiosity at that young age is great and we kind of want to tap into that. The thing with Lego Braille bricks, they're colourful, they look like Lego bricks, they work like Lego bricks, but yet through play, they kind of learn and pick up the little dots. We can lose hours of the day just sitting there with a bucket of Lego bricks, just making things. But if you're learning at the same time, I think that's just a win-win.
Bravo, bravo, Lego. Listen, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be back with more of SOULIVITY Today.
6 years ago when I started SOULIVITY, my vision was to support everyone in improving their life through the discovery of their passion and purpose, so they could become the best version of themselves, to battle fear and ignorance, and create a better world today. Get inspired to live your passion and purpose. Visit soulivity.com now.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Parasetter? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Parasetter is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Parasetter, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Hey, we're back. I remember all of the pets I had growing up. Do you? We had dogs, we had cats, even a bird and a turtle. My turtle's name was Frankie. Oh, I missed him so much. But a Virginia family got more love than they expected when they decided to foster a beautiful dog for the weekend. Let's learn more from ABC's Channel 13 for our last Hot Topic Friday.
Check this out. A very good boy found his forever home after his heroic story made rounds on social media. This is Moose. He was up for adoption at the Portsmouth Humane Society earlier this summer when a family fostered him for just a few days while they were in town. Now, the family was staying on a houseboat in Portsmouth Marina, and in the middle of the night, listen to this, Moose alerted everyone in the house of a large fire on the boat next door. Love this dog. You may remember this video from early August. It turns out Moose actually alerted the family just in time that the boat next door and the family's boat were starting to catch fire. Now, both boats were actually destroyed in this fire.
Yeah, unfortunately, the family lost everything and they weren't able to adopt Moose at the time. But after sharing Moose's heroic story online, a family from Franklin saw his story on social media, came and scooped Moose up and brought him home. So we say good boy, Moose, and so glad you found your forever home.
Yeah.
Don't you love it? Don't you love it? Well, listen, everyone, we're going to take another quick break and we'll be back with more of SOULIVITY Today.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible SOULIVITY team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on SOULIVITY TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Would you like to be one of the first people to experience mental freedom?
Mental freedom is a coaching practice with 6 core principles: improving hope, self-efficacy, optimism, resilience, and general well-being. Mental freedom only takes 6 sessions. It is designed to give you the tools you need to help yourself. It can help with any situation: relationship problems, past trauma, career decisions, parenting challenges, addiction, and mental health concerns. Incorporating the mental freedom framework into your life will deliver an approach to master any situation and a pathway toward achieving inner peace. Mental freedom provides the information and tools that you need to grow and be bigger than anything that ever happens to you. So if you're looking for one-on-one or a group coaching program that will allow you to address any situation that comes up in your life with practical tools to give you more peace and joy, then join the Mental Freedom Program in SOULivity's Aspire Academy. There are very limited spots available, so don't delay. I hope to see you there.
Hey, we're back with more of SOULiVity Today. Only got a couple of minutes left. Just want to remind all of you to follow us on social media and join our mailing list by visiting the SOULiVity Today site. Now, I am so glad that you made it here for another SOULiVity Today for our Hot Topic Friday. Listen, this is how we do it every week here. We're here to inspire you to create your better life today. Want to remind you to please go check out our 80 Bytes sponsor program at 80bytes.com, or you can go to soulivity.com/80 bytes for more information. Wow, parting is such sweet sorrow, but we're going to be back every Monday through Friday right here on SOULiVity TV at 8 a.m. Pacific time, or you can listen to us same time every week, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific for all of you guys out on the West Coast. Thanks again for joining us for this show. And of course, as always, as you're moving through your life and you need some inspiration or some motivation to take it to the next level, come to soulivity.com, where you can learn more about your passion, your purpose, and how to use that to create a better life today. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted its prior written consent. All other rights reserved.